Okay, welcome to the first meeting of the advisory board of the Institute for Artificial Intelligence, Research and Development of Serbia. I will be your host. My name is Branislav Kisačanin. I'm the chief scientist of the Institute. We scheduled this meeting to coincide with the first year, the first birthday of the Institute. 1 year since the Institute was founded by the government of Serbia. And very briefly, here's the agenda. This is the introduction. Okay, we are in the middle of it. We'll have the welcome from our director, Dr.Dubravko Ćulibrk. We'll have a message from the governing board, from one of the members, Mirjana Damnjanović. Then a short video about our accomplishments in the first year, and very brief introductions to our junior researchers. And then the bulk of the first hour will be introductions by our senior researchers. We'll have a short break. And the second hour will be the panel. I crowdsourced the questions from our researchers, and we will ask the advisory board to help us answer them. Okay, so the main goal really is to allow the advisory board members to meet the team, and that's the first hour, and for us to ask you, the advisory board, some questions and hear your opinions. We did not rehearse this much at all, so everything that works well, please give credit to the team, and anything that goes wrong, blame it on me for not catching it or rehearsing it before the meeting, okay? Let me see. Yeah, the next item is the welcome from our director, Dr.Branislav. Please take it away. If you want to share your screen, you can do that.
Thanks. There's nothing to share. So first of all, thank you all for being here. It's a pleasure that we got this far. Basically, when we talked about it and with a few people who are now members of our board, but who were kind of part of the core team when we were taking off, we kind of envisioned this as a sort of a government-backed startup, right? And so one of the first things that you do in a startup is try to get as much help and as much advice as you can from the people who know their stuff. And I'm super happy that a lot of you from the advisory board decided to kind of give us a chance and spend some time on us. And we've not been in touch much before, except for through one-on-one meetings, because of a simple fact, there was not too much to discuss. We were building the team, and we were setting up the framework. Even though we are sort of a startup, we are a government institution, so some steps take a little bit more time to do and to do them right. So I'm happy to say that the latest numbers that I have is that we now have 29 people. They're mainly distributed between Novi Sad and Belgrade. We are now thinking of onboarding a team in Kragujevac, and once we get that and niche, we will probably cover all the university centers in Serbia, which was kind of the goal. We wanted for the Institute to reach as many people who want to work in the domain of AI, and those who are working in the domain of AI in Serbia as possible. We've also managed to set up a very productive project development and management group. Still no project to manage, but we've managed to do 8 Horizon Europe applications so far. We were gunning for about 41 million euro. We'll see. As I said, no positives so far, but I would like to stress that we did this with 92 partners from 17 countries all over the world, mainly Europe. Also, we've managed to set up the core of our tech transfer software group. We have an IP policy. We're polishing up our spin-off policy. So the idea is for this to be a research institution, but also to actually generate spin-offs and IP and do real tech transfer. And one of our researchers is going to say more about that. So as Branislav said, we would like to kind of not bore you and entice you to ask as many questions as you can, and focus on the discussion in hour 2. So I'll just let Mirjana Damnjanović, who's a member of our governing board, to tell us a little bit more about the Institute from her viewpoint.
Hello, dear colleagues. It is so great to join the first meeting of the advisory board. First of all, on behalf of the governing board of the Institute, I would like to thank you for joining the advisory board. Thank you so much for your willingness to help us grow. We recognize that in rapidly growing field like AI, it is necessary to have mentors and to rely on advice and experience of established scientists and business people like you. So today you will meet our scientists and get a picture of the Institute's potential to contribute new AI science and to apply AI to commercial opportunities. We hope that this meeting between you, the advisory board, and our scientists will inspire new ideas and fruitful collaboration.
Okay, thank you, Mirjana. Thank you very much. Okay, so I will switch now to the next item, which is a short video about our accomplishments and brief presentations from our junior researchers. That should work. And now let me find that video, the Institute. Can you hear some happy music? Okay. The credits for this upbeat video go to our PR person, Milica Brković. Thank you, Milica. And the next on our agenda, let's see, we did this, we did that. Yes, introductions by our senior researchers. And now I will invite them one by one to present themselves to the advisory board. We have 10 scientists who will introduce themselves, and I will kindly remind them to stick to the schedule of about 3 minutes per person. And the first goes Vladimir Djapić from Belgrade. Vladimir, are you ready?
Okay, first, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, can I share my screen?
Yes, please do so. If I need to click on something, I'll click.
Yeah, you probably need to click something that you unshare.
Okay, stop my share.
Okay. Vladimir Djapić, most of my life I lived outside of Serbia, but I'm very happy to be joining this team as a head of the Belgrade office. Can you see my slides?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so my background is in automatic control, and I applied automatic control to robotics, to heterogeneous robotic vehicles, underwater vehicles, ground vehicles, aerial vehicles, and also my AI touch with robotics is in perception, robot perception for semantic segmentation and mapping. I lived all over the world, mostly in the US, in Italy, Croatia, and accomplishment as a chief scientist in San Diego. And you see here my publication record. I published a book chapter and many publications in journals and at various conferences around the world. So application to a real world, I guess, is in level 4 autonomous driving, so self-driving cars. Here on the slide, you see the mapping system that I brought to Belgrade with me and mapped with my own car. A robot needs to have the a priori knowledge about the static objects in the environment in order to be able to negotiate for the other objects and other traffic participants, such as pedestrians and other cars. This is, on the left, the, image of one of the roundabout, Topčiderska zvezda in Belgrade, and the Belgrade roads. I did the same thing for the boats, and basically this is where I see potential for our institute. Maybe to do some autonomous driving and application of autonomous driving in Belgrade. We proposed that to European Union. We scored well, but we didn't get funded to have cooperative boats be able to transport people and goods across from one side of the riverbank to another. In the Institute, we're trying to do smart city applications. We're focusing on 2 things in Belgrade office: smart city applications. Here you see where we're trying to process the LiDAR data to determine the azimuth and elevation of the rooftops to determine solar potential. We did a common denominator for our work in Belgrade is application of thermal imaging. So we're trying to see how much the Belgrade buildings and houses leak, to be able to geolocate these locations and be able to match with the cadastre record to be able to give some real information to citizens and do some things that can be beneficial. Also, thermal camera and other sensing modalities are being applied for the AI in healthcare. That's our second theme. So we now have the COVID project. We're determining from the CT scans and from the X-rays. And I will end this.
Okay, I would kindly ask everybody to mute themselves because there is interference. Vladimir, please continue.
I just finished because
Okay.
3 minutes that I did it.
Very good timing. Okay, let's see who's next. The next is Slobodan Ilić. Slobodan, are you ready?
Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm ready. I'm going to share my screen real quick.
Okay.
Let me just find which screen shares the presentation. Okay, can you see my presentation, everybody?
Yes.
Okay,
Go
great.
ahead.
Thank you. So my name is Slobodan Ilić. I'm a senior researcher at the Institute for AI R&D of Serbia. My work experience is obviously as a senior researcher for the last 8 months. And also prior to that, I was an assistant professor at the Faculty of Technical Sciences, University of Novi Sad. But I also have a very strong background as a senior software engineer over the last 15 years. As for the education, I have a PhD on automation and systems control, also at the Faculty of Technical Sciences, where I specialized in short-term load forecasting and large-scale power systems. I'm currently working as a team lead, where I'm actively involved in the growth of 2 junior researchers. Together, we're researching the areas of remote sensing and computer vision. I also try and help establish best practices at the Institute, such as leading by example, some basic concepts of asynchronous communication, and more philosophical but very important for work, concepts like ownership. Here are some results of the endeavors of my team and I in the past months. Here you can see the segmentation of an image, which is accomplished by a convolutional neural network, the main goal of which is to recognize the land use, land coverage by using Sentinel-2 images. That would be all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Slobodan. Really good with timing. I'm sure our advisory board members will have questions for you guys, but I guess we didn't think about that ahead of time. So I will kindly ask our advisory board members, should they have any questions, to write them down and maybe send them by email or maybe ask during the second hour. The next to introduce themselves is Velibor Ilić. Velibor, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, please share your screen.
Do you see my screen?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Velibor Ilić, and my background is computer science. I finished my PhD at 2009. I published one book chapter and several scientific publications in a journal and conferences. At the bottom of the screen, there is some keywords of my previous experience and interest. Before Institute for Artificial Intelligence, I worked in several companies. Before this one, I worked to RTRK Institute mainly on development software for automotive industry, such as autopilot and ADAS technology. Also, I have experience with international academic institutions such as University of Canterbury at New Zealand, and I spent some time at EPFL at the br.ai.ns.institute. Also, I have some scientific collaboration with NASA, Berkeley, and Stanford. I started working with artificial intelligence at late 90s. There are several applications that you can see on this screen. Also, I used artificial intelligence on automated trading. On this slide, you can see some my project. They work together with the students on the project where is machine learning applied in automotive projects. On this slide, you can see some other my projects related to artificial intelligence. One it's interested where is machine learning applied in atmospheric chemistry. Also, there is project for Serbian railways companies for lead control on the railways, and project for Serbian Institute for Serbian language. And on this slide, you can see some possible idea for future projects. Well, currently, what is interesting to me is combination active learning and explainable AI, and also you can see several other projects that is mainly in the area of computer vision. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Velibor. We'll move on. Please unshare your screen. Let's see who is next. The next is Milovan Medojević. Milovan, are you ready? Okay, we can see your screen. Go ahead.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello. My name is Milovan Medojević. I'm the researcher at the Institute for Artificial Intelligence R&D of Serbia. And as a quick introduction, as you can see on this slide, sorry, I have some issues. Well, regarding my pre-institute career, I was engaged at the Faculty of Technical Sciences as a research and teaching assistant, mainly focused on energy engineering, thermal energy engineering, and development and designing of production systems. During that period, I was involved in a variety of projects, but as most interesting ones were while I was a visiting researcher at the faculties and universities listed here. For example, in Spain, I was involved in simulation and modeling of prosumer systems of photovoltaic solar energy systems. In Denmark, I was developing evaporative cooling system for fattening pig production of for 1 million pigs. The idea was to design the ideal system to achieve the thermal comfort for the system. And for example, easily in one day, you can lose 2 million euro. Then at the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering at Prince of Songkla University, I was involved in the development of the radiant cooling systems for occupational buildings. During this period, I was developing a small startup called Energy Pulse, and Energy Pulse is about developing IoT devices, or like more precisely, decentralized SCADA systems for data acquisition and monitoring of production systems. At the Institute, my focus is strongly related to IoT and AI applications in the Industry 4.0 environment, and hopefully in the next month I will defend my PhD thesis with topic behavioral analysis of production systems based on the energy flow theory of nonlinear dynamic systems. Here I was developing a hardware infrastructure for data sets acquisition, and also development of dynamic models for prediction of future system states by the means of the deep learning techniques. For our advisory board, I have one question. I would like to see their opinion. Where do they see the most prominent potential of AI applications in the manufacturing sector? Thank you. Okay, thank you, Milovan. Thank you very much. Please unshare your screen so we can move on. Okay, the next is Dragiša Mišković. Dragiša, are you ready? Dragiša, please unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay. Just a second.
Yeah, we can see your screen. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Dragiša Mišković and I'm a research associate at Institute for Artificial Intelligence. Regarding my pre-institute career, during the 10 or more, 12 years, I worked in speech technologies domain. That means besides my work on research and development on speech recognition algorithm and speech recognition engines, I've also been involved in development of all other modules that make up one system for human-machine interaction. That means natural language processing, natural language understanding, dialogue management, etc. My PhD was from that area, and there I made an upgrade of typical systems for speech recognition, where I'm trained to mimic human language processing system. So I included their conceptualization of working memory, focus of attention, etc. As one of the results, I was involved in development of humanoid robot Marko. That was the first Serbian humanoid robot which is able to perform interaction with human in particular domains. Few words about the current project during my career.
Excuse me, Dragiša, I think you're not sharing your full screen, just so you know. We are still seeing the first page of your presentation. If you want to unshare and then go, yes, and then choose the screen. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I hate to see your presentation go without.
Yeah, try sharing again.
Okay.
You first need to start the presentation and then share only that screen. Yeah, that's better. Thank you. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. This moment I'm talking about the current project. During my career, I was included in many national and international projects. Currently, I'm included in one European project, Collapse, which is focused on security aspects in smart factories. And another project is MetaCobot. There with our colleagues from department from robotics, their main goal is to create human robot interaction in synthetic environment enabled by Unreal Engine. So I'm working here on the framework to enable robotics model to exist in a virtual environment, and also on AI to control robots during the interaction with human. And okay, so can you see my next slide? Yes. Just a few words about the future projects. We already submitted one proposal related to AI in gaming industry with our partner from University of Niš, and currently I'm working with my colleagues from Department for Telecommunication and Signal Processing. We are working on one proposal for European Smart Network and Service Call. Also, our partners there are A1 is a telecom provider, Entity Data, Continental maybe. And there we are focused on changes need to be made in communication technology to expand the world of internet connected devices and to use AI in 5G and beyond 5G real world scenarios. So we are focused there on architectural aspects but also on AI concepts. So for example, distributed machine learning can be used in delay sensitive application. So that is for me in 3 minutes, I hope.
Okay, thank you, Dragiša. Good timing.
Okay.
Please unshare so we can move on.
Okay.
Okay. The next is Jelena Mitrović. Jelena, are you here?
Sorry to interrupt. Just to let you know, Jelena let us know that she's feeling sick
Okay.
And maybe if it's possible, we recorded her video,
Yes.
maybe play a video.
Yes. Well,
Thanks.
I'm sad to hear she couldn't join us, but that's exactly why we had a recording. So let me see if I have hers. I do. So let's see if I can. Okay, that's her. And let me share the screen really quick. Share sound. Okay.
Good day, everyone. My name is Jelena Mitrović, and I will share my presentation now with you. So, so I'm a senior researcher in the NLP team, and everything that I have done so far regarding artificial intelligence has to do with NLP. So I have done my PhD studies in Belgrade, and so basically everything that I have done there had to do with processing of Serbian language and building tools and resources for natural language processing in the Serbian language. So regarding hybrid machine learning models for irony detection, this is one of the systems that I have developed for my PhD thesis. And we say hybrid because we couldn't just use some out-of-the-box machine learning models, of course, for Serbian, but we needed to develop special dictionaries, lexicons, and so on in order to get good results for such a difficult task that is irony and sarcasm detection. Furthermore, towards the end of my PhD studies, I have also joined the University of Passau in Germany, and there I started developing systems for hate speech detection, working more on deep neural nets and neural networks in general. This system that you can see here, so it was a system developed for one of the challenges called SEMEVAL, so challenges in semantic evaluation, and we scored in the top 10% with this system, where we used sort of a combination of a CNN and RNN networks, and we achieved quite good result for English and German, and later on we tested this system on many different languages and it performed quite well. So one of the objectives in working at the Institute is to try this system or a very similar one for a task such as hate speech detection in Serbian. Regarding research objectives, further research objectives at the Institute, so we definitely need to develop quite a lot of resources and tools for the Serbian language that would be open source, because most of them are not at the moment. And in this regard, here I just put an example of one resource that I have developed with my team in Passau previously. And so it is called HateBird, which is a transformer model, pre-trained neural network for dealing with hate speech, and it works quite well. So the goal is to develop models like these for the Serbian language, and before going into domain-specific resources and sort of neural language models, we need to think about developing some general models, like a general BERT for the Serbian language. That would be very nice. And it would be very good if we could share those models like we did for HateBird via Hugging Face Transformers library. And so this is one of the goals among many, many other things that we plan to do at the Institute. And to sort of end the presentation here, I just wanted to ask to pose a question to our advisory and scientific boards. So as we plan to go a bit more into cooperation with industry, and hopefully we'll come up with our own startups, all of us, senior researchers and younger researchers, why not? So my question is, how do you reconcile this research time with the obligations that you have for your companies and startups? So those of you who are dealing with both sort of sides of the coin. Thank you very much. That was it from me.
Okay, thank you, Jelena. I think we got that right. Okay, that was Jelena Mitrović. I noted her question for later. Okay, next is Nikola Prodanović. Nikola, are you here with us today?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please share your screen.
Okay, it says I cannot start screen share while.
Okay, let me see. I need to stop my share. Yeah, okay, try now, please. Okay, we can see it. Go ahead.
Good. So do you see the first slide?
Yes, go ahead.
My name is Nikola Prodanović. I'm also a senior researcher at our institute. So my background is a little bit different from what you heard so far. I have strong background in physics, actually. I did my master and bachelor degree at Faculty of Electrical Engineering in optoelectronics, nanoelectronics, and photonics. So my main topic of my bachelor and master studies was the physics of electronic and optoelectronic devices, such as modern transistors, modern diodes, cameras, lasers, light emitting diodes, lidars, radars, etc. Parallel with this degree, I was also enrolling the Faculty of Physics, theoretical physics, which encompassed statistics, infinite dimensional linear algebra, and analysis. So I have that very strong mathematical background. So for my PhD and postdoc studies, I literally joined all this knowledge I had in quantum mechanical numerical modeling, in condensed matter physics, and physics of light matter interaction, which are the most important areas of physics for optoelectronics and electronics. Due to my strong physical background, I have very broad knowledge in science and technology. So I would call myself a technological philosopher, if something like that exists. Current research interests are actually very different from my background. I am very interested in natural language processing and natural language understanding with the emphasis on Serbian language. I am focused right now on current natural language understanding technologies based on architectures with attention mechanism, most notably transformers that Jelena mentioned in the previous lecture. We right now have one project, which is one of the first projects of our Institute for Artificial Intelligence, IAI-RDS. Okay, so the project is related to COVID-19 vaccines hesitation study, where we study the tweets of the Twitter users on the topic of COVID-19 vaccines and trying to figure out why people hesitate to get vaccinated. Aside from the NLP and NLU, I also developed keen interests in theoretical AI, especially in understanding various neural network architectures. My future interests are to break down complex transformer architectures in order to decrease hardware requirements. I would like to do that by using linguistic approaches. I would like to engage in developing of NLU in medicine, again with emphasis in Serbian language. I would like to try to integrate NLU systems and CV systems, and maybe I could try combining my expertise in ab initio quantum chemistry computation approaches in novel AI-based molecular design approaches. So that would be all for me.
Thank you, Nikola. Please unshare or stop the share so we can move on. Very good. I think we are doing really great with timing. So let's see. Let me see my slide. The next is Branka Rakić. Branka, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, please share your screen.
Share.
Yes, we can see it. Very good. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for your time and for this opportunity to present all ourselves and our plans for the next year. So let me just briefly introduce myself. I have a PhD in molecular biology. I finished undergraduate study at University of Belgrade, molecular biology and physiology, and did my PhD in Vienna, where I worked for a while in the field of epigenetics. Even during my PhD, I had a tight collaboration with chemical industry and pharmaceutical industry. So maybe that's the reason that I continued my career and exchanged basic research for more applied one. and worked as a science consultant for several well-known pharma companies, working on their research projects, so the R&D part. Most relevant for my current role, project that I've done for database development, so biological database development. Mine and my team role was to define the source and rules and ontology for the database, manually curate the training set, and QC automated curation. And since October last year, I'm a member of this institute. So the need for someone of my background and for this group at the institute is based basically on the role of AI Institute in the future Bio4 campus. Bio4 came as a result of our government initiative to further strengthen Serbian bioscience and to make it more industrial applicable. For now, it's just a platform, but expected until around 2024. It will be a multidisciplinary R&D complex, and ideally it stands on these 4 pillars: biomedicine, biotechnology, bioinformatics, and biodiversity. That's the name Bio4. Currently, 5 research institutes join this and 2 university, and our institute is part of it, and we'll physically have a couple of offices there once the building is finished. Last couple of months, we spent promoting this project via various platforms, from meetings and seminars to direct contact with industry partners, with companies. So as a result of these efforts of talking a lot and we negotiated potentially 2 projects with Takeda Pharmaceutical and Philip Morris International. Takeda projects planned for the future all around AI screening AI in rare disease, AI application in rare disease. I wouldn't go in the details of this project, just briefly. One is AI-based screening for Fabry disease. This includes finding a phenotypic pattern in the medical history of undiagnosed patient to get a diagnosis. This kind of methodology already has its clinical application in some of the countries, but it's really nascent, so it's really a new technology, let's say. And the final goal of this project is to implement this into our health system. So we would be among the first countries in the world that has this early screening, AI applied early screening for rare disease. Negotiation with Philip Morris is just a continuation that started off after our Prime Minister talks with Philip Morris CEO. Interestingly, Philip Morris everybody knows it as a tobacco industry. So they are now switching and going through the transition from cigarette producer into therapeutics. And they already acquired several biotech and therapeutic companies. They're using what they know the best, that's aerosol chemistry and inhalation knowledge and technology, of course. And they're developing they plan to develop inhalable therapeutics. Currently, we are defining our niche there in this field and talking about potential projects that we can work together. So that's all for me, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Branka. Really good. Please unshare. Unshare or stop the share.
Stop share.
Okay, very good. Okay, next we have Bratislav Svetozarević. Bratislav, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Can you see the screen?
Okay, yes, we can see it. Go ahead.
Great, thank you. So my name is Bratislav Svetozarević. I have only recently joined the institute as a senior researcher and the Chief Innovation Officer, and that I will talk a bit later about. Let me just check. Okay. So very briefly about myself, I finished mathematical grammar school in Belgrade, and afterwards the Faculty of Electrical Engineering, where I studied theory of dynamic systems and control, signal processing, and ML. I did my diploma thesis in nonlinear control and then master's in robotics. Then I moved to Switzerland, so the second half since then I spent in Switzerland mainly. First I joined ETH Zurich as a researcher in optimal control. I also lectured basically control, like different control basically topics, and then actually left academia for 1 year when I basically joined this actually spin-off from the University of Zurich as an R&D engineer, and this spin-off was actually successfully acquired recently. Then I did my PhD at ETH Zurich in soft material robotics with application to efficient photovoltaic systems and efficient buildings. You will see it basically a little bit later also. There we were lucky to actually publish in the Nature Energy and also lucky to get to the cover page. We also paid in technology, and actually currently we are basically founding a company which will commercialize those results. Then I moved to another institute where I was focusing more on machine learning and applying machine learning to control topics, where I mainly worked on data-driven learning-based control applications, basically during my postdoc time. And since last year, I'm in the position of scientist working on actually scaling up those algorithms. Since January, I'm active at the institute, and I'm also working as a chief innovation officer, where I'm helping with the IP regulation, actually spin-off regulations. I'm advising also like on the patenting and like on the spin-off issues. Also, like I will also try to network at the Swiss universities, research institutes, and within the startup scene. And we also plan further activities with SMEs in Serbia with Milana Vitazova, senior IP expert. At the same time, I will also try to establish a research group in data-driven control with applications to optimal energy and comfort management of buildings. And basically, like here on the right-hand side, you can see the outcome of my PhD work on where we are actually applying the soft material actuators to modulate, to actively move those actually PV panels, thin film PV panels on the facade, and actively modulate the energy effects on the facade. At the institute, I also plan to actually focus on, and like what I'm also working at the moment at Tampa, is physics-inspired and physically consistent deep learning methods for modeling and control. And I'm also working on the transfer learning and scalability for efficient real-world applications in mainly buildings and also soft material robotics, where we are looking at like in the topics as human-guided learning and elderly care. My question for the advisory board would be, how do they see applications of AI within the buildings and the basically human-centered robotics? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bratislav. Very good. Please stop the share. Okay, very good. Okay, the last but not the least is Dragiša Žunić. We will play the recording of his presentation. He kindly requested that. Let me just find it. It's somewhere here. Okay, let me share that. Count to 3, but very slowly. Okay, right there. Please tell me if you see this. If you see this, yeah. Okay, I'm playing it now.
Hi everyone, my name is Dragiša Žunić, and I will speak about symbolic AI and machine learning in the context of modeling, reasoning about, and controlling the computation taking place on financial exchanges. I graduated from the Faculty of Science, University of Novi Sad. I did my PhD at École Normale Supérieure in Lyon. And also I stayed as a postdoc at Carnegie Mellon University in Qatar, dealing with symbolic AI with applications to finance. At some point I was involved in startups, and also I was studying quantitative finance. At ENS Lyon, I was involved in computational interpretations of classical logic. Basically, there is a very strong relation between programming language theory and proof theory. For example, proof can be seen as a program, proposition is a program type, etc. And my goal was to design several computational interpretations or several calculi capturing the reasoning in classical logic at different levels of abstraction. I'm mentioning this because I use this skill later to model the computational core for exchanges. At Carnegie Mellon University, we were dealing with metalogical frameworks, which are the systems to represent and reason about an object system, in particular parallel, concurrent, and resource-aware systems. And we used the sequential core of financial exchanges, which is the only one that is in use today in financial markets. And we managed to formalize it and to reason about its properties. So in a meanwhile, before coming to the Institute, and at the Institute, I was working on the design of a parallel core of financial exchanges. I managed to do that, and basically that one is relevant for industry and theory, and it's a response to a phenomenon from the developed electronic markets where we have the boom of high-frequency trading. This all is caused by the glitch in the market design. Anyway, what I mentioned by now is the game itself, so qualitative AI and the game itself. Machine learning comes into play when we want to reason about the game together with participants. For example, if we want to learn to recognize the disruptive trading practices before they occur, if we want to foresee the flash crashes, etc. So there are properties which we can prove by symbolic AI, and there are properties which we cannot prove by symbolic AI, but we can use machine learning. For example, we can prove the property by using symbolic AI that the market is never in a crossed or locked state, or that the trade always takes place at either bid or ask. The next two are proved by economic tools from economics, but the following two must be proven using machine learning. For example, recognize in advance the disruptive trading strategies, spoofing, flipping, bot trading, or predict and prevent the flash crashes of exchanges. That would be all for me for today. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Dragiša. And I think that brings us to the end of our introductions, and just in time for a little break. Maybe we can do a 5-minute break just so that everybody can check their emails and other means of communications. And we will be back here in exactly 5 minutes. That will be 2 minutes after the hour. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you in 5 minutes.